Hey YouTube, Keyston here. So today I'm going to do a demonstration / tutorial video showing you how I, a quadriplegic, painted this Majestic moon. But two things. First, hit the subscribe button, and second, stay tuned to the end of the video so you can find out how you might have a chance to own one of my paintings.
And this is my painting splint that I've had for quite some time, and basically it wraps around my arm and my hand to stabilize my wrist while I paint. And of course we have the paintbrush taped to the end. Okay, so these are the colors I'll be starting with. I'll be working with white, I'll be working with light blue, phthalo blue, and black. And those are the main colors. And I don't remember what kind of brush this is that I'm working with, but I will be working with two other brushes because unfortunately I don't have the sponges that were recommended in Amy Pierce's video. So we're going to improvise. We're going to use the line brush for creating the moon, and we're going to use the mop brush for blending, and the green bucket will just be for my water. Okay, let's get started.
This is a terrible angle. Okay, thank you.
So the important thing what to do when you are creating a majestic moon, as this is that you want to start in the very center with your lightest colors, because that's where the moon will be. That's where all the light will be emanating from. And every color that goes away from the moon is going to have to be progressively darker, because we want to create a sense of depth. We want to create a very bright moon, and the further you get away from it, the darker it will be. So right here I'm using phthalo, which I realized was actually much too light for me for this image that I'm going for. So what I ended up doing was I started adding Ultramarine Blue, which will give it a much better color that will make it'll make a smoother transition from the light to the black, because at the very end what we want is for the outsides to be black because it's nighttime, right? And now I'll just say this: the goal with all of this was to have a sponge while the paint was wet to be able to basically work in all those colors again and blend them together. So I decided to slow the video down and let you hear some of the paint strokes for all you people that love ASMR. And you're going to see I've made a few mistakes in here that I have to clean up and almost start over again. But that's a part of the process, right? I mean, you know, it's okay to make mistakes.
All right. I need your help to very quickly to
the reason I brought this part up is that what people don't understand is that, you know, you're not able to do everything on your own. You need help, especially when you make mistakes. And so you can imagine that would be incredibly frustrating for an artist, because we want to be able to work completely on our own and work at our own pace. But unfortunately, you can't do that. And, you know, you just have to learn to rely on people for help, which is okay. So what I'm doing now is I'm using the mop brush to try to blend in all of these colors, making sure that when I do blend, I go from light to dark. You never want to start blending from black to light, because what that will then do is, well, it'll make all your colors really dark in the center. It'll just ruin the whole transition. So that's what I am trying to do, but it's not working the way that I want to. As a matter of fact, it's drying way too fast. That's the thing I love about acrylics. Acrylics have great fast drying time that oils don't have, but you know, it's drying, so it makes it very hard to do things like blend and work, which is why I asked my nurse to spray the painting to kind of wetten it. And that's a technique a lot of people use when they want to you know, either extend the working time with the paint, or if they want to blend, but they have to be very careful with how much water you use, because if you add too much water, you're going to really thin out the acrylic paint, and which is not good.
We'll grab a sponge then. Yeah.
As you can probably tell, I'm getting quite frustrated. So the only kind of sponge we had really here was a cosmetic sponge, and it just wasn't working. Again, you know, it can be frustrating sometimes because you know exactly what you want and how you want it to look and what you want it to do, and you know, unfortunately you can't do that. But again, at the end of the day, it's a blessing to be able to have somebody to help you. So I just wanted to include that to just kind of show the realities of what it's like to have to paint, you know, as a quadriplegic. And now the great thing about working with acrylics is that because it dries fast, you can, if you make a mistake, you can go over it and try again. So I'm going to try to do another blending method. Really saved this painting for me was this technique I learned from the Art Sherpa on her YouTube channel. And she uses the golden glazing liquid for acrylics. Imagine trying to say that 3 times really fast. Anyway, and what I love about it is it really helps blend in the different colors in a way almost like oils. It's really nice and really natural. It also extends the working time. And so now what I'm able to do is really blend a lot easier. It's so much easier to blend. You can see the colors blending into each other. You can see that you're seeing you know, less strokes, and it's starting to look really majestic and almost like a foggy, smoky like look, which I really do like. And of course, I added white in the center because the closer you get to the moon, that you want it to be as bright as it can be. Now, one of the most fun parts of this painting is creating the stars. One might think it's time consuming, but actually it's quite simple. All you need to do is just dip your paintbrush in some white paint. You just pull those bristles back and then let go. And you can do it as many times as you want, depending on how starry you'd like your night to be. What we did here for the moon is we wanted to try to find any sort of round object that we could use to outline, to trace around it for the moon. And the great thing about this Peel Tech product is that once you place it on there and you paint that Peel Tech around it, that creates a barrier which would allow me to paint inside the boundary without having to worry about the paint bleeding out, because unfortunately when you have a disability such as mine, it takes away your ability to be precise, which has always been something that's very important to me. And so one of the sacrifices but beautiful things I had to learn about art is that art can be just as beautiful when it's impressionistic. And my high school art teacher, Vicki Johnson, taught that to me. So what I'm doing right now is I'm painting the moon. And I'm using a mixture of black, white, gray, and different shades of blue to create the craters of the moon. But because this moon is so far away, we don't want to see them too clearly defined. So basically, I'm just doing a lot of layering so you can get a glimpse of the craters from a distance and without seeing them completely. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that the technique that I'm using to paint this majestic moon actually is a combination of 2 other YouTubers' techniques. One is Amy Pierce and the other is Ryan O'Rourke. And once you're finished, you can then peel the Peel Tech off. This is the most fun part of it all. Using that glazing liquid, I was actually able to blend the clouds in a way that I didn't think I would be able to. There are many techniques you can use to make clouds. For this one in particular, I wanted to use something that, a method that was really going to make them look more realistic. I wanted to make sure that I showed layers so that you could see depth. You wanted to create a sense of depth and really emphasize just how bright this moon is. So the further away you are from the moon, the darker your clouds will be. The closer you get to the moon, the lighter your clouds will be. It's pretty much that simple. But it's a repeated process of layering upon layering upon layering to make it look more and more realistic. And I just did not anticipate that this glazing liquid would actually help give it this natural transparent look that you see in a lot of clouds. So it was really great to discover that. You know, when it comes to art, that's one of the things I love about art. You know, you find all these serendipitous moments that help you create new techniques and things that you learn that maybe you can then pass on to somebody else. So there might be somebody else watching this video and they might decide to start incorporating glazing liquid into their clouds. So again, I want to thank the Art Sharpa for that. And yeah, this really was my favorite part of the painting. Unexpectedly. So this painting took me 2 days to complete because I had some other priorities I had to take care of. But on the second day, I was really excited and enthusiastic about finishing my painting. But something ended up happening that basically drained all of my energy. It drained me mentally and it drained me emotionally. And I just didn't want to do it anymore. But then I remembered a quote that I found on Pinterest that said, "You can't get much done in life if you only work on days when you feel good." And that rang true to me because there's so many days due to my paralysis where I'm just not feeling my best. I know we all have days when we feel crappy or we're just in a crappy mood. And you know, sometimes we need to take a break. But don't ever let a crappy day keep you from achieving your goals. I prayed and I meditated and somehow I ended up finishing my painting. And I'm so glad that I did.
So there you have it. I hope you liked this video. I hope you found it informative, relaxing. I hope you learned some paint techniques, and I hope it gave you some insight into what it's like to paint with a disability. And if you did like this video, you want to see more paint tutorials, and you want a chance to own one of these paintings for yourself, then go ahead and hit the like button, hit subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you know when I post.